Okay. All right. Now you can't say anything bad now, Moira, because we're live streaming. Okay.
Oh no! I'm sorry, Matt. That has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Out in the warm, and I'm actually out in the dark.
All right, guys. Welcome to the virtual star party for March 17th. Now you might see the red figure down below in my webcam. That's not Roger, but that's Moira.
Hi guys.
Roger actually is on site. He is doing a workshop for astrophotography. So I thought, how about we try Moira and her lovely little telescope to show you some cool stuff. Now it is going to be slightly shortened edition because just as we were setting up, I got 6PR wanting to do a radio interview with me at 10 p.m. So we are we are going to only do 2 objects tonight. Is that okay, Moira?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll have you back another time. Tom, Moira's husband, is saying Moira needs better light. Can't see her the beauty. So you
can go away. There you go. Is that?
Yep. So you might know Moira and Tom from the Councils of Rec. If you are part of our Discord channel, they help me monitor the channel and answer questions in the meantime. Yes.
I'm half afraid of what people are saying because I can't see anything right now. So you're gonna have to tell me.
I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah. And so yeah. So if this is your first time joining us, thank you for choosing the Perth Observatory as your virtual star party. We really appreciate it. And we do have a Discord channel that sometimes likes to behave itself, and then other times like to say that people's names are actually object. I'm still trying to figure that out. Just there's a whole lot of time, a lot of stuff going on the last couple of months, so I promise to figure that out. But we're going to be showing you some cool stuff through a telescope. So if you have any questions during the live stream, we do have a Discord channel which you can join. There's a link to it in the description of this video, and you get to ask questions, and you'll see it down the bottom left here. But we'll also try to answer it as well. So so Carl Scott says, I've got 2 boys.
If you don't come up with any questions, I'm just going to take the mickey out of Matt the entire time. It's just what we do.
That's what, that's what Roger does. I need someone. So Carl M42 says, I've got 2 boys' birthdays today, and neither is Paddy. Happy birthday, Carl's sons. And Dino Webb has said,
hey boys, have a great day.
Dino Webb has said, Moira, sorry if the spelling's wrong, looks like an amazing supervillain. So, yeah. Tom,
all I need is a cat. So
they're at home, aren't they? Tom says that's the correct spelling, and she does indeed. So,
but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you guys just briefly with my camera what I am using.
Yeah, go ahead.
Get a bit of a view. So this is the telescope that I'm using. Hopefully you can kind of see it there.
Yep.
So that is an ED80. I've got a camera just here on the back of it as well. And that's what we're currently, if you see my shared screen and that patch of stars there, that's what I'm using to take the photo. And I took the photo just a few minutes ago.
Yep, and we've got that on the screen right now. And that is a beautiful shot of Omega Centauri. Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll show everyone in this on the live stream exactly where it is. So we've got, well, we're in a little bit too quick there. So we're looking south, and as we can see, I'll turn on the artwork as well. We have the Southern Cross right here. And we're going to turn on some actual, some more fancy stuff with this, and this is called Stellarium. If you've never watched this before and you're looking for some cool astronomy software, this is called a Stellarium. S-T-E-L-L-A-R, so A-R-I-U-M, and you can actually go in time, and you can find out all this cool stuff. So, what's up in the night sky at the time? And so we're going to be going into the constellation Centaur, and this is actually where, according to a couple of an astronomer who worked out exactly how big the Federation is, and where the actual Klingons, Cardassians, and Romulans and Vulcans would be. The actual Romulans are actually in the constellation Centaur. So, and this is what we're looking at right here. Centaurus A, and I'll just, where is the center it, and we'll zoom in on it. Yep, there you go, right there. A big ball of stars, which we can see if we turn back to Myra's screen, we can see right there. And these are quite an amazing bunch of stars. They're about 100 and, well, they're actually about 160,000 light years away from, or 16,000 light years away from us. So when we're taking photos of that light has traveled 16,000 years to get here. So we're seeing it as it was 16,000 years ago, not as it is today.
If you look back that far in human history, that's like predates anything written, anything that we've really managed to find in our history, in way of any sort of written record or anything that we can really this is with the civilization. Then we have got nearer stuff that I like to show as well, but this is a lot further back, so we're looking a lot further back in time as well. But one of the great things about Omega Centauri is it's actually not part of the Milky Way.
No, it's not. It's actually just it's in the it's outside of the actual disk itself. So, and
they've done big surveys of these, because you'd think that there's a good 100 million stars in this area. You'd think there would be planets in there, because we find a lot of planets nearby and in circling other stars nearby. But what they've actually found, they've done a lot of surveys of these. Because there's about 100, I think it's 130 at last count of these globular clusters orbiting the Milky Way. Because that's, if it's a globular cluster, it's orbiting the Milky Way. It's not actually part of the Milky Way.
Yeah.
And they're typically around 12 to 13 billion years old. So they're almost as old as the universe.
Think active retirement village.
Yeah. And there's actually not a lot. There's not a lot of heavy metal in these clusters as well. So they typically, they haven't actually found anything that suggests that they might have any planets in there. So it's really literally just a bunch of stars held together, really tightly packed by gravity, where if you were standing on a planet, if there one existed, if you're standing on a planet right smack bang in the middle of this, it would be twilight basically all the time. There would be no time. It would just be pretty much day all the time. You like living in Sweden? Not that that's a bad thing. I'd love to live in Sweden.
Yeah, I do have friends in Sweden, and all they ever do is send me photos of the aurora. So
one of my goals is to go down to Tasmania and go and see the aurora australis. That would be awesome.
And Tom has sent a GIF of Beavis and Butthead rocking it out. So
yes, I'll drag him along and he can go and I don't know, play video games. While I'm
Yeah,
playing with my
obviously
dog.
Omega Centauri doesn't like Queens of the Stone Age or Pantera or or Nine Inch Nails.
We'll get Metallica going at full
Yeah.
volume. That'll go.
Yeah. Sleep with one eye open. Actually, we
Does anyone have any questions? Do we have any questions popping up?
no. Road is saying no one comment. I want to hear Matt ripped. So, yeah. So they're all keeping fairly quiet. So, but Tom has shown them where they can get an ED80. And also posted the Stellarium stuff as well. So there's actually about 120 of these around our galaxy. And this is actually the Mac Daddy of them. This is about 150 light years across, 150 to 170 light years across. And it's got about 10 million stars. And they yeah. They self-migrate. So the bigger, if you become a big, or if a big star grows in the outer area, or if you get these cool things called blue stragglers, so you actually have two medium-sized or small stars that merge together, and they form a much bigger star, and they then actually start to fall into the center, and any smaller little stars, they get kicked out of the center as well. So, and they do actually, it's very much like everything with a Goldilocks zone, in whether it's a galaxy, solar system, even these, there's a lot of radiation in the center. There's actually,
like when you're bouncing on a trampoline and you end up with the heaviest stuff right in the middle,
yep.
and all the light outside. It's exactly the same sort of thing. If you get a star that gets joins another star, it gets bigger, it gets more gravity, it's going to kind of gravitate more towards the middle of that trampoline.
And while this one is the biggest, I like 47 Tuck a little bit more. It's more neater, but the biggest one we've actually ever seen is Miral 2, which is around the Andromeda Galaxy, and that is 200 light years across, or 250 light years across, and it's got about 20 million stars. So that is another big boy as well. All right, so
what else are we going to look at, Matt? I'm not 100% on a nebula.
Did you want to try Acrux again?
My tracking's slightly off, so it'll take me a while to actually get it centered. Do you want to try Eta Carina?
Yeah, we can do Eta Carina again. Yeah, it's because we've got some new people here, so let's do Eta Carina. But
I am curious though, have we got anybody in there from the Nerd Herd? Because I did post on the Nerd Herd earlier today about the live stream.
All right, so if we've got any people from the Nerd Herd, do type and give us your love. That would be very lovely.
And what's the NGC for Eta Carina?
NGC is NGC 3372.
All right, start one.
Yeah. All right. While Moira is going there, I'll actually show you. I'll actually show you where the Vulcans are supposed to be. The Vulcans are actually supposed to be in the constellation of Eridanus, so the river. So let's have a look here. So we're going to be... Oh, we're going all the way back. So let's have a look. We're coming up to Orion. And there is the river right there, Eridanus. Now, from what I can remember, the Cardassians are in a constellation in the northern hemisphere. That's why I don't remember it. And do we have Leo? I think we do have Leo, because the Klingons are somewhere in the Leo constellation. And the interesting thing was the astronomer took into account that the Federation would be about 400 light years across, and so the Orion Syndicate and the Orion Nebula wouldn't actually be a part of the Federation, which is fairly interesting as well to know. All right, so for those who have never seen the Carina Nebula, we're going to be going back to the south. This is something that only the southern hemisphere people can actually see, and it's just above the Southern Cross as well. So right here, in the constellation of Carina. So Carina and Puppis and Vela actually used to be part of a much bigger constellation called the Argo Navis, which is the ship that Jason and the Argonauts used to find the Golden Fleece. And because it was such a big one, they actually ended up cutting in 1920. They broke it up into 3 constellations, and that's how we get our 88 modern day constellations. Now, Leo Zakal M42 says, is in Leo there is the triple galaxy. Yes, there is the triple, the Leo triplet, which we've actually done. It would have been one of our very early ones we did back when the lockdown first started. So I had actually been thinking about maybe talking to Roger about when we do one of his ones, because it will be in the central wheat belt, to actually do it again. But it's just in between his hind legs. Oh, actually, it's in his hind legs right there. So, right there. And if you have an ED80, whoop, gone a little bit too far there. Yep. I'll just zoom in here. And there are those 3 beauties right there. So that's a nice one that astrophotographers like to use and take photographs. It's pretty impressive to see as well. And yeah, that's so we actually see one face on this one here, which is M66. We see M65. So when we say M, we mean Messier. So we're seeing that edge on just a little bit like the Andromeda Galaxy. And then we're seeing NGC 3628, which is also called the Hamburger Nebula, or King Hamlet's Ghost, or the Vanishing Galaxy as it's also called. We're seeing that edge on, so it looks a little bit like a cigar or so right there. So you do have to take a little bit of a long exposure for these guys. I think I have to go back and check, but I think I did about a minute exposure to really draw out the galaxies, but definitely worthwhile. And if you go out and actually go out to the country and take some photos, it's really worth it. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Are you on target, Maura? Nearly there?
I'm on target. I'm just trying to get a reasonable picture of it. It's hard to pick up the nebulosity.
Yeah, no worries.
I might have to go for an open cluster instead. So
okay.
I'm going to be doing a bit of a travel around.
Yeah, I think there's a wishing well nearby. So,
what's the NGC in that one?
NGC for the wishing well.
For anyone who isn't aware, and when we're talking about NGC, it's the New General Catalogue of Stars.
Yeah.
And where we get the codes for where these objects are.
NGC 3532.
Sorry, 30...
3532.
3532. That was a 6-second exposure, and you saw what happened there. That's how bad my tracking is right now.
Yep. So we've got so Moira's telescope is on a equatorial mount. So if you don't have those perfectly aligned, they don't always go to the correct location, and they don't track absolutely perfectly. But they do actually provide you some really nice photos. Because it's actually the telescope's going around in a perfect circle. If you have a telescope with a fork mount, so you have the two arms, and in the middle is the telescope. To make that circle, it has to go sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways, up. A little bit like a digital, so you don't get that crisp, completely circular movement. Dino Webb, is it possible to see Alberio? I can't remember when it is visible. It is actually visible at the moment. Let's have a look here. So, it's nearly there. Nearly there with this wishing well. Where is? Let's go back here. It is actually in the constellation Sirius. So, and you might be asking yourself, why so serious?
Terrible, Matt. What are you doing?
Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Actually, Alberio is up more in the winter time, but we do actually have a lovely what's called winter Alberio, because of course it's winter time in the northern hemisphere. But in the back here of Canis Majoris, the major dog of Orion, we have a lovely constellation called Taur Canis Major. It's also called the Mexican jumping star, because if you do a little trick with your lens where you flick it while someone's looking, this bright star right here actually looks like it's jumping around, and none of the other stars look like they're jumping around, because your eye is focused on the larger star, and that's where you get the whole term Mexican jumping star. But there is actually a nice little star here called 154 Canis Majoris, or the actual SAO number is 173949, and it's basically a very similar star. It's not a double star like Alberio, but you can there is actually a yellow and a blue star, and they just happen to be passing ships in the night. The actual yellow star is a supergiant, and the blue star is just a normal blue giant star, which is, and there's actually about 3,000 light years in distance between them. But that's a nice little one to do. But yeah, we'll get Alberio during the winter time and during spring as well, because I think it's in the constellation Cygnus. Let me just have a quick look here.
Well, the wishing well
awesome.
Out, so.
All right, so we'll have a look at.
We've gone from the retirement home to the to preschool.
Yes. So yeah, this is, we've gone from the old folks home, as you said, and we're now in the at preschool level. So this is another type of cluster. This is called an open star cluster, and so this is the next evolution step for a star once it's been formed in a nebula. And so all of these stars are little baby stars. And so not only is this called the wishing well cluster, it's also called the pincushion, the football cluster, and black arrow cluster as well. So you can kind of see the bush, the football shape there as well. It's probably more an American football shape than AFL shape.
It's about 1,800 light years away, isn't it?
Pardon?
How far away is this one? It's about 1,800 light years, isn't it?
Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, I'm just having a quick look here. I know it was found by Nicholas de Lacaille. He was actually, he first found it. But yeah, it's actually 1,321 light years away from us. So about 405 parsecs.
Oh my So we're in the early Middle Ages with this
Robert the
this slot
Bruce,
here.
and William Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There we go. Braveheart reference.
sorry, I'm half Scottish. So yeah.
We're in the club.
And so you're looking at, these are stars that have been formed recently from a nebula, and they're loosely orbiting around each other. It won't take a lot for these guys to kick themselves out of the group, and so we're really only seeing this for a couple of 100 million years before they go off in their own direction around the galaxy as well. So think of these, really anywhere between, toddlers all the way up to, say, university age in terms of stars life. They won't. There's not going to be a failure to launch here. They're going to get kicked out of the home, that's to say.
Well, the other one thing though is our own sun at one point was part of one of these
and they think it might have been some.
They've actually.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, they've actually said about 30 characters. Because I was looking this up earlier, because I was like, okay, well, we were always talking about these open clusters. When we have the tours, there's always an open cluster, or at least one or two. We've got a couple of nebulas there. And I was thinking, hey, what about our own open cluster, like our own, I guess, siblings of the six possible candidates? The nearest one is actually in the constellation of Hercules, and it's about 110 light years away. And the way that they actually work out how these stars are potentially related to our sun is they look at our sun's light wavelengths and the spectroscopy. Say that 3 times fast. Basically, what the sun gives us and how it actually looks, and they compare it to stars nearby which have a roughly the same kind of orbit around the center of the Milky Way, and roughly would have been in the same sort of area at the same sort of time. And then they check out the light wavelengths and they see if they roughly match. And that's actually how they figure out whether or not these stars might be related to ours. I thought that was really fascinating. And that's what I was looking at it earlier, and I was like, Tom's going to kill me because now I'm looking at potentially getting gear where I can actually check out the wavelengths and the patterns of these stars. And he's like, I haven't told him yet, but now
there's a look at he's just posted a GIF of Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained, and the look is like he's just taken a sip of really bad wine. So I think you're in trouble already.
Yep. That's right. Darling dearest, love of my life, I have my telescope. You have your hammer. There we go.
And so there's actually about 150, and he says, "Do it." I think, come on, Tom, you've got to have an Emperor Palpatine GIF there saying, "Do it." No Star Wars. But this constellation actually has about 150 stars, and so it's quite a large population there, and it has about 7 red dwarfs, so 7 big stars that have come towards the end of their life, and they're not going to really last any longer, maybe a few more million years. And we have already 7 white dwarfs, so 7 stars that have already unfortunately passed away. So there's the Emperor Palpatine gift there. He says, "At least her telescope doesn't become a pile of shame." So,
well, you know what? I really do recommend, if you ever get a chance, even a pair of binoculars to just go out and do stargazing with. And if you look around the Southern Cross, which we all know where the Southern Cross is, there's actually tons of objects because that's right over the Milky Way. So there's tons of objects in that area. Like the Wishing Well is actually about a little bit north.
Yeah,
so what we're looking at right now is
it's a really nice
Cross,
area
so.
with the Carina Nebula to have a look at. But yeah, this was actually found. This one was the first object that Hubble actually looked at, and then they realised it was all the blurry. So yeah. Oh, I think we've just lost. There we go. I think we might have just lost Moira there. Let's have a quick look. Just see. Oh, I think she's coming back. That's Australian telecommunications. Dino Webb, happy birthday for Saturday. So I had my birthday on February the 23rd. So I'm now 35. So yep. So are you back, Moira? We can see you, but we cannot hear you just yet. Moira, are you back? We're nearly going to get her back soon. Hey, you're back. Yay.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. No worries. All right. Do we want to do one more object? Do you want to try it?
Or what should we go for? Do you think?
I think Can you get the Carina Nebula?
I couldn't get a good view of it before because I haven't got the tracking for it. Yeah.
What about? Do you want to
Ryan?
What about Tor Candace Major? Can you go to that? The Mexican jumping star.
Maybe. Ow! Ow! Oh, what are you doing to my knees, Matt? Oh,
I know.
What am I looking at?
Sorry, Tor Candace Majoris.
Come on.
NGC 2362.
2362.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
And we're not going to ask you to flick the telescope.
No. I won't like you anymore if you do that. All right. Just like me very much.
All right. So we'll go back to Stellarium. And so we are going to be going to Sirius and for the last object, and we'll have a look. So up here, so we got back around, and up here. There you go. And this is where we're looking, just at the tail. So again, usually these open star clusters are actually visible with binoculars. So it's always good to bring along a pair of binoculars, because then you'll be able to see stuff that you might actually want to see a little bit closer, and that really helps you. I've got a pair of Celestron binoculars in my eyepiece case, so when I go off site, we can I've got them as well. So also, guys, just letting you know, we do have some upcoming events. We're having a morning tea from 9:30 to 11:30 here at the Observatory, and for the equinox, because the 20th, this Saturday, is the equinox, which means the Earth is both sides get equal amount of sunlight and nighttime. And we also have up on our website now, you can book for the total lunar eclipse on the 26th of May, and that will be from 5:30, 5:45 till about 9 o'clock. So when you arrive, the moon will start just below the trees and will be coming up and in the partial lunar eclipse phase of the total eclipse, and then we'll get to see totality. So the moon will look nice and orange for about 14 minutes, and then it will go back to being a partial eclipse, and then it will finish. So that's another night. We've also got one of our volunteers has done a lovely book about a fairy that lives at the observatory, and so it's a kids book, and we're going to have a little afternoon tea for that on April the 10th, and you can book for that, and there's a special $3 off if you book if you pay for the book when you book your spots for that afternoon tea. And we also have some another public talk coming up, because on April 24th, which is a Saturday, we're going to have celebrate the 50th anniversary of our Lowell telescope dome. So we're going to get the astronomer who used to work here at the observatory called Peter Birch. He's going to be coming back and going to be telling you about the amazing history of the telescope. So that will be done on the back lawn. And we also have 2 special night sky tours coming up in May. There's May the 4th. So we'll get the Star Wars night. So the place will be decorated, and you get to come up. If you come dressed up, you go into the running for best dressed prize. And we also have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy night, which is on Tau Day, which is the 25th of May as well. So, we just lost Moira. so there's some really cool events coming up. We have sold out of our night sky tours till May. It's been very popular. So if we do end up going back to 100%, we don't have to worry about the 2 square meter rule. Then we'll probably add an extra few spots onto our night sky tours. But we do have our winter night tours, which are going from it's June through to August, and we'll soon have the next season's night sky tours up as well. So yeah, so actually, if you've got a telescope, or while we're waiting for Moira to get back, if you guys have any questions, do ask them in the Discord. And yes, Tom, that's probably why she's disconnected, because I was talking about Star Wars. But if you do have a fairly decent telescope, there is a nice little homework for you to do. You can try and actually see Sirius here. It is the brightest star in both hemispheres, and it is actually sorry, I thought I'd clicked on. There you go. Click on Sirius. Come on, and we'll zoom in. And here we go. Zoom in. It is actually a double star. So while it doesn't show, there is actually a smaller little star. So if you do want to try and get some homework and do some cool stuff with your telescope, try and be able to take a photo of both the main star of Sirius A, and try and get Sirius B as well. So hopefully she comes back. If not, we might have to end this a little earlier, unfortunately. This is, again, we're having issues with telecommunications up here at the observatory. And she's coming back. She's coming back. Cool. Here she is.
Hey. Nice.
Okay, you're back.
Maybe, hopefully.
All right. Nearly. Okay, and let's have a look. Your screen's coming back nearly. When the screen comes back, I'll transition over to it. Yep.
Matt, can you hear me now?
Yes.
No.
Yep.
Yes. Maybe. Hope so.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello. Moira, we can hear you. Can you hear Moira? No. Oh, why so serious? Yep. Moira, nearly. Come on. Let's have a quick look. I'll just see if I can. Let's have a look here. Moira, can you hear us? Moira. Moira, can you hear us? Hello? If we all shout 1, 2, 3, wake up, Moira. No, lol, no, not expected.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Moira? Moira, can you hear us? It's a Moira. Nope. Well, anyway, muting the scene. What we can do here, so while we've got Moira trying to figure out her speakers, we do actually have, this is Tor Canis Majoris, or the Mexican jumping star. And this is another lovely open star cluster. Can you hear us now, Moira? Moira. Moira's off with the fairies. So yeah, so this is about 5,000 light years away from Earth, and it's the brightest, and the actual main star is the brightest star in the open cluster there. So it has about a radius of about 40 light years across in terms of all those stars, and it's a fairly decent open star cluster, and it was actually catalogued by John Herschel, and at the first. Now there's a number of main sequence stars just like our star, and actually while Moira is at her computer, I'll try one more time. Can you hear me, Moira? Can you hear me? Hello, Moira. Moira. Hello. 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 Nope. Alright, sorry. But well, at least while we're showing. Yeah, so this is another open star cluster that we show on the night, and it's lovely. You'll mostly find that they're quite bluish stars, and so they're very, very hot as well. And so it's quite these are stars that will eventually go off in their own direction, as like all other ones. They're getting fairly close to it. They do have some. You can see that there is some hold in the center there. There's still quite a lot of stars there as well. So it's one of those ones that yeah, we're probably coming towards the end of its life as an open star cluster, and they'll go off in their own directions as well. There's the main one is quite hot. It's about 32,000 Kelvin. So it is, you certainly wouldn't want to go too close to it there as well. So and it is a good one to see during the summer autumn period, and it's quite easy to find if you've got a set of binoculars there as well. All right, guys. So I think what we'll do is we'll finish that there for this stream. This will be the only stream, unfortunately, for March, just because next weekend I'll be in Kalbarri to do an astronomy night up on this on the Kalbarri Skywalk. But we will be doing 2 live streams in April as well. So just keep an eye on that, and yeah. So we're going to have Riley back. So we're going to do one on Wednesday and one on Saturday. So I think the next one will be on a Saturday. It might be actually on, I think it is actually on the 3rd of April. And that one will have Riley.
I think I'm going to hang up now.
Um,
Not sure if anybody can hear me, but
thanks
guys.
Thanks, Maura.
Had a ball.
And so we'll have Riley from Stargazers Club on that one, and then I will see if we can, if Roger can come back for the next one, and we'll do that for the next couple of months as well, and see how we go in terms of numbers there. Thanks very much, guys, for joining us. We hope you've liked this, and if you do like this, and please tell your friends and family about it, and also give the video a like, and you can also subscribe to our channel. We're trying to monetize the channel so that we can get money to do make these live streams better, and also bring in some income for the observatory, because it is run by lots of volunteers who want to keep this place open. So if you could help us out, that would be fantastic, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. See ya.